Hello everybody, this is Mithril Zenith, and welcome back to another 15-minute tier list, the show where we try to put out an episode before 15 months go by. No, the show where we try to make a tier list in 15 minutes. Today is Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I just want to get out of the way two caveats with this game. One, I'm not splitting into the separate routes, I am doing all units, because if I split to separate routes, it's basically, okay, a couple of units only get rated on one list, and the rest of them, they just go down one or two rankings based on how hard they are to recruit into your house. That's really the difference. Two, I'm not including the DLC characters. One, because I've never played with them, and I don't think it's fair to give them that sort of rating. And two, actually, I guess, yeah, primarily because I've never played with them in the main game. I played the DLC, I enjoyed it. I thought that they were of a mixed power level, but then again, the DLC was kind of weird with the power levels. Yeah. So, Three Houses is a game where units don't necessarily get to be good or bad based on what would normally make a good or bad unit. Instead, units are good or bad based on what access to overpowered things they have. So, for instance, a unit with good stats, but, not a great spell list, not a great combat art list, may or may not be actually rated that highly. Where a unit, even if they have kind of poor stats, can be rated very highly if, for instance, they have a great spell list, or even just a great utility, or what have you. With that out of the way, let's get down to it. S tier is Byleth and your Lord for the route. End of discussion. Byleth is available the entire game long. They are very strong. They can easily become pretty much any class. Sword of the Creator's a great weapon. Free recharges, no need to repair it. Means even if you're not using New Game Plus. Also, yes, this is another thing. New Game Plus can make any unit broken. I'm not including New Game Plus strategies. I might mention them, but I'm not including them in my rating. Byleth is broken. Technically, female Byleth is better than male Byleth because Pegasus Knight access is much better than Dark Mage and Berserker access. But either way, they're an S tier unit. Only unit capable of taking hits and maddening outside of your Lord, which is again why they're S tier in Chapter 1, as well as just all around solid from beginning to end of game. Each of the Lords are S tier as well. Dimitri has amazing strength and pretty good everything else. Claude has really good skill, pretty good speed, but just all around is really useful. The one thing he's missing... Actually, no, I think he gets it. It's just other Wyvern Lords don't get bow range, but I think he does in his special class. And Edelgard is very good. Her unique class Emperor is a trap, because it has all the downsides of an Armor Knight with very few, if any, of the upsides. If you just put her on a Wyvern, she is unstoppable. And do I need to even mention Amir allowing you to have infinite turns whenever you want to with her, so long as you have enough durability with it. Yeah, easily the S tier. I don't think any other units really come quite as powerful as them overall, and so that's going to be where my S tier kind of ends up. Everyone else I'm going to rate based on, again, my feel. Staff generally are going to be rated a little bit lower. So, I don't remember your name. I should. Alois? 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 I don't know French. He's a mediocre unit at best. It's like in hard mode when you play his Paralog and you get to use him before you even can recruit him. I think you have to play with Paralog to recruit him. He just kind of sucks. It's supposed to be a showcase of how good he is, and he just kind of sucks. And sure, if you train him, he's good, and he's fine. But in a game where your units can be completely broken and do insane things, Alois doesn't have any abilities that really make him stand out. And the fact that he comes in late and so mediocre means I'm giving him like E tier. I'm also going to rate Cyril E tier. No, you know what? I'll rate Cyril D tier, I think. I'm debating putting him to C. Mostly the only reason is because he has access very quickly to, point blank volley? And so that ability to just, Brave Effect on any bow at one range is very strong. Other than that, his stats are mediocre. Sure, he has aptitude, but his aptitude actually brings his growth rates up to what a normal unit is in Three Houses, not above any of them. So if you're used to something like Donald and thinking, oh, aptitude's great, it's not actually that great in Three Houses. Who else? I'm just placing these units as I think of them. Hanneman has some utility with, is it Meteor or Bolting it gets? I think it was Meteor. His white magic spell list isn't anything to write home about. The Meteor's nice. His bow combat arts aren't particularly useful, but can arguably give him a niche. He's fine. He's the D tier unit. He's filler. If you really need him, he can play a role. If you want to make him good, you can make him decent. He doesn't have anything really broken about him, though. Same with Manuela. I'm debating putting her into C tier just because she has warp access, but I really don't think she's that good of a unit. You have to invest in her to make it worthwhile because her magic is so bad. And the rest of her spell list is... Actually, I guess she does get silence and warp. Yeah, she has some good utility. I'll put her in C tier for her utility. Just not really that impressive overall compared to other units on this list. Am I gonna get lynched for giving Ash B tier? Probably. I don't care. This is the hill I'm gonna die on for Three Houses. Ash... Yes, Ash has two potential builds that he slots very well into. You can easily make him a Wyvern Lord just like anyone else, and then he'll blend in. He'll kind of be a mediocre Wyvern Lord, but that also means that he's just a strong unit in general, because Wyvern Lord is an overpowered class. Or you can make him a Bow Knight and take advantage of the fact that he's only one of 2 units in the entire game to get the... oh, what is it called? Not Barrage. The long-range attack. Not Overdraw. You know what it is. It's like +5, up to +5 range. And sure, you get a range penalty for every additional square you attack. But as a Bow Knight, he has extra range on top of that, and Canto. I'm just gonna say, you can also just do a sniper build, and he's fine. He has the Axe boon. You can quickly put him into fighter for the, oh, it's been so long since I've played, I forget all these ability names. +6 attack on player phase. Deadly Blow, Deadly Strike. And then you just make him with the long-range build. Just kit him out with every plus accuracy thing. I think if you get like Marianne's Marianne's company to max, I think it gives +40 accuracy, and you give him +20 from Archer and plus some more accuracy from good supports. He can easily attack at 9 range regularly with like an Iron Bow plus, with like pretty solid accuracy. I used him a lot to take down key targets, long-range mages, units on siege weapons, just flyers that were particularly annoying. He's amazing in that role, and so few people use him in that role because they just see Overdraw or whatever it's called as the ability of, oh, it's a gimmick, it's not really that useful. But if you build him for it, it's great. Granted, I'm not going to rate all of his utility just on one build, otherwise we'd be going down a rabbit hole for Bernadetta, let me tell you. But I think that he does that so well, and he's pretty good in a generalized purpose, that he deserves the B tier that I don't think a lot of people give him. I'm not saying he's some S tier master unit or something, but he's a solid B tier when I think a lot of people would rate him down C or D. Speaking of C or D, does Lawrence even have anything that makes him stand out? I guess I should give him C tier because I don't think he's as bad as everyone else. By the way, these tiers are going to be shifting around a decent amount through the video. Like, I might move Ash up to A tier. We'll see. Lysithea, I don't think most people would complain about putting her in A tier. Her magic is the only thing she really has going for her, aside from a gimmick Swordmaster build that sucks and you shouldn't use. But high magic with warp, with an amazing offensive spell list overall in general, she does one thing, but she does it really well. And Three Houses, I think, punishes units, or wants to punish units that only do one thing. But when you do that one thing as well as like Scythia does it, you shouldn't complain. You shouldn't complain. You have pretty much the best mage ever in Fire Emblem handed to you. You just need to level her up. A tier, easy. Not an S tier because she can't, you know, she doesn't have it all. She doesn't have survivability, she doesn't have variety. She just does one thing, but she does it very, very well. I'll give Linhardt B tier because his utility spells, I think Warp and Fortify, I want to say, give him pretty good utility. Not so overwhelmingly good, but definitely solid. He doesn't get Fortify. No, he gets Physic and Warp. Warp is the big one. Mercedes, I'll give a B as well. Yeah, here's the thing. It's like, you kind of need a tier between people. I think because of that, I'm going to shift everyone down a tier and start doing stuff like this, where it's like, okay, here we go. Now we have the space we need. Felix, do I give him an A tier or do I just give him a B tier? He's great early game. He can struggle a little bit in the mid game, and depending on how you use him late game, he either comes back up to being really good or he struggles down again. For being so strong in the early game when not many other people are, I'm debating putting him into A tier, but I think top of B tier is probably pretty fair. Sylvain and Ferdinand are A tier because they're solid, they're pre-built cavaliers. In a lot of ways, they're the Kent Insane archetype of... I mean, look at them. When I first saw them in the trailer, I thought they were, like, related or something. They both get Swift Strikes, which is an insane combat art for lances at, like, B rank, I want to say? B or B+. No, maybe it's A rank. Either way, they get Swift Strikes. They're solidly built with good strength and reasonable defense and everything else. They're just solid units, and, you know, they have a variety of what you can do with them. Ultimately, you're not really going to go wrong with them as long as you keep them in a class that they can still use lances with effectively. Hubert's a bad unit. Hubert has something of a unique spell list, which maybe puts him up to C tier, but he just doesn't have what you need. I guess I can't give him D tier. I can give him C tier just because the spell list is very helpful. Things like silencing enemies, crippling their strength or defense or speed, dropping their movement to 1. He can do a lot of interesting utility with his offensive spells. He just never really gets to the point where he's dealing enough damage to one-shot enemies, and he also is never fast enough to double, and he'll constantly get doubled in return, so you have to constantly watch out for him and protect him. He's a decent unit. He's not game-breaking in any way. I think I should also point out here, if I say your favorite unit isn't that good, it's not my fault. And I'm not saying that they're a bad unit, I'm just saying that they're not tier-worthy. There is a tier difference in terms of how good they are, potentially. Anyway, I just looked at the time. We have got to speed things up. Gilbert sucks. Only available in late in one route. Can't really do much. You're okay. You're slightly better than okay. You're B tier because the sniper build is so good with such high accuracy. And C tier for usability. No, I'll put you in like D tier and C tier. Maybe B tier because you actually can be accessed pretty early, and your sword's really good. A lot of people hit on Caspar. I think he's fine. He really depends on the luck of the draw, such as the case of any stat-based unit. He works really well with gauntlets, insanely well, and his axes aren't too bad either. Raphael, just kind of, I don't know. Caspar has enough speed sometimes, depending on if you're lucky. I just got really lucky with Caspar one time, and he turned out great, but Raphael's kind of never been great. He's always been fine, but never fantastic. Ingrid, Early game, Pegasus 9 access, amazing speed. The only question mark is will she level strength, but if she does, she's great. If not, you patch her up and you find ways of working around. Flame joins late, has some decent utility, is never going to be mind-blowing. Bernadetta, she has the Vengeance build. She technically has the long-range build as well. She doesn't really have too much else going for her after that. I think she does that build worse than Ash by a significant margin, and I think the Vengeance build is something of a gimmick, but then again, you can make it work even in Maddening, so what do I know? Annette is really good with rallies, really solid mage. I don't think that she's... I don't know, she always has just what you need, even if it's not impressive, I guess, is what I'll say with Annette. And with the way things are shipping up, I will move Felix up to A tier, because I think he is better than these units by at least a tier. Marianne, just pretty similar to Mercedes. Good support list, not a great offensive list. Kind of underwhelming combat arts. Sedith is a great unit. He'd be higher up if he came any earlier. He's fantastic. He displays why Wyvern Lord's great, and he has Swift Strikes. Need I say more? Petra, also very good, very solid, very fast, good skill, pretty good strength. Doesn't always have the bulk you need, and dodge tanking is unreliable on higher difficulties in 3 houses, but pretty solid. Debating whether she's better than Felix. I think Felix is better overall because Crest of Faldarius is just that good. Leone, again, she's not super impressive, but she can do a variety of builds pretty well, and she just seems to also have what she needs to make it work, and always seems to turn out better than, like, Caspar. Hilda is a great unit, really solid strength, pretty good defense, always surprises me with how good she ends up being, even when it doesn't feel like she deserves to be that good. Ignat sucks. He would have been brilliantly great if he had the long-range combat art, but he doesn't. He's pre-built for long range with that plus 20 accuracy base innate, and then he doesn't get the one combat art that would allow him to benefit off of it. Take that combat art off of Bernadetta and give it to Ignatz, or heck, just even give it to Ignatz and let him have it. Let each of the, like, preset archers for each route have the long-range bombardment combat art. What the heck is it called? I'm gonna kill someone for forgetting. He's just missing that one or two pieces that would have made him really good, and because he doesn't have those, he's just mediocre at best. Dedue, I really want to put him higher, and I think I will put him because when you have Dedue, he's very good. Having a high defense unit that's a perfect lure that I swear enemies have like a higher aggro rating for him for whatever reason, because I would put him in front of my mages and enemies could still attack the mages, but they just decide to attack Dedue anyway. I don't know. Really good. He does one or two things great. The Armor Knight build, the Fighter build, War Master. That's all you need. Great defense, solid strength. Again, showing that if you just have the good stats where they count, it doesn't matter if you have crap stats everywhere else. And Dorothea is fine as well. I kind of figured that the majority of units would end up around B tier because this unit's full of B tiers. The whole idea is build up who you want, they're gonna turn out good. If you invest in other units, not saying that they won't turn out good, it's just saying that they don't have as many tools to make them better, and so they rely more on lucky level ups, more on investment, more on other stuff. But yeah, that's my 15-minute tier list of Fire Emblem 3 houses. I think I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Leave your angry comments down below. Just so you know, this is probably not going to be the last tier list I make. I'm probably going to do a tier list of my tier lists at some point in time. And I might do more in the future. If a new Fire Emblem game comes out, I'm certainly going to eventually work my way around to doing a tier list of those. But for now, until then, this is Mithril Zenith signing out. Have a good day, everyone.